So this was an assignment that I got an A on. The professor wanted us to write a short story. There's a number count, so it can't be too long, and a time limit. And it could be true or false. This short story that I wrote for my class that I got an A on is true. So remember, the teacher is grading us on uh, a lot of different dynamics, but I want to go ahead and read this to you. Family Edition. You have a little sister who is going to live with us now, Grandma said. We're going to pick her up from the airport. The social worker will meet us, Grandpa chimed in. I grabbed my jacket and slipped my shoes on at the door, and we got into the beat-up, faded blue van and headed to the Salt Lake City airport. A sister? I thought. How abstract the thought was. I had never met my mom. We never spoke of her. The only thing I knew of her is that when Grandma was mad at me, she'd say, "Oh, you look just like your mother." As I stared out the window at the enormous mountains, my mind's silence was broken when I heard, "Lisa is using again, and this time she used while pregnant. The child has a birth defect on her face," Grandma bemoaned during the drive. We finally arrived at the airport and made it to the meeting place, and there she was, less than 2, curly blonde hair, blue eyes, and a bluish-greenish goose egg mark across her face. The social worker handed over gifts to Grandma from the foster family and exchanged goodbyes. I noticed a card with dolphins on it. Grandpa, with his long gray beard and cracked, calloused hands, picked up the car seat and we headed to the van. On the way home, I stared at her and she stared at me. As she wiggled in her car seat, her shirt moved up and I glimpsed a long, bluish-greenish mark along her back. She looked like a bruised doll. As I looked out the window, Grandma said, "I can't take in any more of Lisa's children. I'm saying no to the next one. I'm too old for this." "What's her name?" I asked. "Her name is Zulise, but I'll call her Julie." "I won't call her your mother's stripper name," Grandma said sternly. Julie looked at me and I looked at her. Somehow we both knew our young lives would change forever. All right, so remember, so if you haven't had any writing classes, you might not be familiar with short stories, but they're very tight. So I hope you like that one. Um, that's a little story that I did. So it's based on a true story. It's short, right? But I hope you liked it. And yeah,